So it is time for the monthly Q&A for May. And, there's going to be a few other videos coming out later today, so definitely expect the normal schedule. But in the meantime, let's get to this Q&A. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, today is the Q&A for May. I'm going to answer all your questions, but this is a very special Q&A. Now, you're probably wondering, how is this a special Q&A? Well, it is officially a year since I started doing the Q&A. I made a promise to all of you that whenever the channel hit 1,000 subs, I would start doing monthly Q&As, and, so that's what I've done each month since. And I have to say, that it's been a blast so far. I enjoy doing this, and, it seems like you all enjoy this very much as well. So, I'm glad that I can answer your questions, and, it's always a load of fun. And I can't thank you all enough. I appreciate it, and, it's just fun to do this stuff, interacting with each of you and, answering your questions. So, I just wanted to thank all of you and hope that you enjoy the Q&As like I do. And if you have any Q&A questions you would like for next month's Q&A, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And if there's any I've forgotten, let me know and I will answer them next month. Without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. Starting with the questions from YouTube, and then we'll go to Discord. Julian R. asked, do you like the Clone Wars theme song? I mean, it's okay. I mean, to me personally, it's basically just like a nerfed version of the theme song from the movies. So it's alright. I still like the movies better in terms of their theme, but, the Clone Wars theme song, it's not bad. So, there's that. Even though the sequels, we don't talk about the sequels. That sequel trilogy is terrible. Elizabeth McGaden asked, how did you react to Salem's ship arriving? And also, Kirby versus Goku, who wins? Honestly, with Volume 7 and the way it went, I just didn't care. I still don't care. Like, Salem's ship arriving, I mean, Ruby has gone so far downhill to this point, I don't care. It didn't faze me. But that's just me. Kirby versus Goku. Now, that's a good question there. I don't know. If we're talking like Kirby and Goku, Kirby is known to destroy universes. I don't know. It might fall on Kirby, but Goku with Ultra Instinct, it's very debatable. I don't know. That's a tough one. I might put my money on Kirby, though, but that's just me. So Donnie Pack asked, alright, now here's next top 10 question. If you've seen this anime, you probably have. Top 10 Food Wars characters and waifus. Now, I love Food Wars. This is a series that I just completely enjoy. I find it to be very fun, and the one thing that really gets me invested in the series is not just the Food Wars themselves, but the characters. This is what really pulled me into the anime itself, is the fact that the characters, they have so much depth, so much personality, they're so likable. Like, I love the characters in Food Wars, really. And that's something that I think is like the best work to it, because when you have a story that is well written and then you have great characters, that really gets you into it. But starting from the cast of characters, my favorites, when you look at the Aldini brothers, I like both of them, but I have to really fall more on Takumi, really, because Takumi, he's actually a really cool character. While he is one to get a little heated when it comes to his brother making fun of him, which I always love that. His brother always makes jokes about him. But, he's actually someone who is a really good chef. And, I also enjoy not only his characteristics, but the one thing that's always been fun to me to watch is his rivalry with Soma, because, whenever he was introduced, there was already that rivalry. But then again, to be fair, Soma kind of put a lot of hate on himself whenever he said that he was going to aim for the top. But then again, who wouldn't want to, right? But I love the rivalry between these characters. His personality is great, and he's got a lot of ambition, which I like that in his character. So another character I really like is Satoshi Ishiki. I think he is fantastic. He's a really cool dude. He's kind of calm and casual, but then like, I think it's really funny whenever he has those exhibitionist moments. Those are it's pretty hilarious. But one thing that I really liked whenever he was introduced, he was a part of the 10, the top 10 in the entire school, which was amazing. And I just loved the aura that he gave off whenever Soma, gave him a dish to try. And then Soma was completely surprised at how powerful he was in terms of cooking, like how good of a chef he was. It was actually cool. I enjoy his character a lot. Another one that I really like is Mito, or Meat Meat. You know, she's a good character, and gotta say, she's got the bod. You know? But not only does she have a good looks, but also she's a very hot-headed character. You know, she doesn't like it when people call her Meat Meat. You know, the nickname that everybody gives her basically. And the thing is that it's always funny when you see these moments of her getting upset over it, but you know, it just kind of rolls over like, oh well, she just still goes by it anyways because you know people call her that. But she is a very good character. I do enjoy her. I also think that how she likes Soma and things of that sort. I think it's funny. I think whenever they were trying to take down the restaurant chain that was making all that chicken, I thought it was just funny the moments whenever someone was just completely oblivious to how she felt about him. I think it was hilarious. Now, another character is Rio. Rio is really awesome in my opinion. I like his whole personality switch whenever he's not wearing the bandana. He's just kind of mellow. He's a chill guy, but then when he puts it on, whenever he starts to cook, he is just completely different. You know, he's like a demon possessed. You know, it's just amazing how he just swaps like that. I really enjoy his personality. His cooking style as well is really awesome. You know, especially how well he was as a child as a chef. You know, he was already in charge of his own restaurant, which was crazy. And I mean, I thought that this guy was really cool, especially whenever they were going through that one festival and it came down to him as well as Akira and Soma. I thought that was really awesome in that fight as well. But speaking of Akira, he's another one of my favorites. You know, I've always liked Akira, you know, how he also uses spices. Now, I thought that was very good whenever it came down to it because, you know, if there's one thing about this show, it teaches you how to cook too. Like, interestingly enough, you can actually use this stuff as recipes, and how he was doing things with spices was amazing. And not only that, but how he actually turned out to win the festival against Soma and Rio was really cool. I mean, that was something that I actually kind of saw coming though, because you know the big thing that really gave it away to me whenever that happened was they showed his backstory. Whenever these three were going at it at the very final bit, and to me at that point it was like, okay, well they've thrown in his backstory. This is usually one of those moments of where like if they throw in the backstory there, you know, working hard to get to this point, that it usually kind of gives it away. So of course he won, and I was like, yeah, I kind of felt like he was going to win there because of that. But, you know, I think he deserved the win with all of his efforts that he tried to put into it and tried to become a great chef himself. You know, he deserved the win, I think, at the end. But, you know, that was a really good match between all three of them. But, yeah, Akira is one of my favorites. Another one is Megami. I have always enjoyed her character because she's really had a lot of growth through the series from the beginning to where they've gotten in the series. Like, big thing is that she was one who really was dependent upon Soma in the beginning. You know, she wasn't very sure of herself. She was very afraid of, you know, trying her own things because she thought she would fail. And, you know, she relied upon Soma for a while, but eventually, you know, she would have to crack out of her shell, which, you know, I think that the series did very well because, you know, the one big thing that I really enjoyed was whenever she went up against Rio, I thought that was a good match for her. And while she did lose in the end, it really showed how well she was on her own for a change. This is one of the biggest moments, I think, for her character. And also, you know, the Kojiro fight before that, you know, to make sure that she wouldn't get expelled from the school as well as Soma. You know, I think those were like two of her biggest moments that I really enjoyed because it really showed how well she has come as a character. And, you know, I think that Megami, you know, she's had a lot of potential, and I'm glad to see that the way that the writer has taken her character. I'm glad to see that in the manga how far she has come. Like, it's excellent. But Kojiro is also one of my favorites. And yeah, he kind of comes off as an asshole in the beginning, and I don't think anybody could really argue with that. But then when you start to learn more about his character, you know, you start to understand why he is the way that he is. And I was like, this guy is actually pretty cool. You know, because he went from being a chef that went to France, he went to being someone that nobody really cared for because, you know, he was doing things his own way. People were trying to say that, oh no, this is not how you do it. And he's like, oh no, you will do the reset my way or you're out. And it's understandable. And then whenever he hit the plateau and then he realized it and then he wanted to do better, which I thought that was great. You know, his character, especially being a mentor in one part to Soma, I thought was awesome. I really like him. I enjoy him. Now, a top waifu here for me. is definitely Alice. I have always loved Alice from the moment she's come in, really. I mean, Alice is a pretty comedic character. And, when you look at her, you just kind of think, well, she's different because of her personality. And, she's definitely one to just kind of jump to some funny moments, but she's actually pretty clever when it comes to how she makes food. And I like that. But I also kind of like her, comedic moments because she is quite hilarious. Like whenever Alice is there, I usually tend to laugh because she kind of seems like a bit of a troll. And it's hilarious. Like I love the way that she kind of acts towards other characters, and she's that kind of character also that she's gonna try to get what she wants. I've also noticed that, which I think it works well for her character. I mean, she's just one that I think is very comedic. She just has funny situations, and like I said, I would see her as kind of like a troll-like character, but she's great. I don't know. I've always loved Alice, and she's one of the top waifus, 100%. And another one of my favorite characters, which I think would be up there definitely for top waifu material, would definitely be Irina. I've always loved Irina's character, but then again, I've got a soft spot for tsunderes in my heart. So her character being a tsundere was always one thing that just kind of sparked it up for me whenever it came to her character. And, she also has those just cute moments. Like, just adorable moments come from her sometimes. I mean, yeah, she is a tsundere, of course. You're going to see her open up like all tsunderes do eventually. And, you start to see that. Her character develops. She becomes very fun to watch. I mean, I think she was always fun to watch from the beginning. And, who can't deny flustered tsunderes? Who doesn't like flustered tsunderes? Am I right? Because, good God, they, beautiful. But, when it comes down to it, seeing where Irina has come from a character in the beginning to where she is, I've enjoyed it. I really like her development as a character, and I've always enjoyed her interactions with Soma because, they're just always so great. They're always hilarious. But now going on to my favorite character in Food Wars is actually Soma. I mean, that might sound a bit generic, but Soma's been a character that I've liked from day one. He's not like your typical shonen protagonist that kind of falls under the trope like Goku or Luffy or Naruto where, they kind of have that dumb kind of mentality, but like they're good in other ways, right? Like Soma's a very smart character, and I really enjoy it. Then again, he kind of is a bit of a troll as well, which is great. But the ways he comes up with food, how clever he is with it, but then again, just in normal situations as well, he's great. But one of the best moments I can ever state for this character was whenever he stood up for Megami when Kojiro was going to just, fail her. I love that moment. Like, I was literally like, the balls on this man. Like, he is amazing. Like, that is just a big moment for me. I've always loved that moment because Soma was just awesome standing up for Megami like that. And, challenging a head chef. I mean, that was awesome. Soma is a character that I love his character. He is amazing. Like, fantastic. But yeah, very good question. Andrew Clusi asks, if you could replace one writer or director in Ruby or RT, who will it be? You have two options. Michael Bay Explosion, Tetsuya Nomura. You need to have IQ over 9,000 to know the story. I really don't know. I mean, at this point, you could just replace Miles and Carey and Kiersey and Eddie with, like, any directors and writers, and it would be better. Or at least almost any director. Maybe not any, but majority. But if I had to say anyone, give Dave Filoni the job. I think Dave Filoni would be able to make Ruby beautiful. I mean, he did good with the Clone Wars. I think that he would do excellent with Ruby. So, you watch Gundam. Did you ever done Gunpla? I mean, I've watched Gundam, but I don't know what you mean by Gunpla. I'm sorry. You might want to clarify that a little more, but yeah. If you give Neo a voice, who will it be? I would go with Laura Bailey. I'll be straight up. Laura Bailey for the win. But yeah, good questions. Not a Bizarre JoJo asks, if you could talk to any anime character for 5 minutes, who would it be? What kind of stuff would you ask? And what fate servant would you personally choose to fight by your side? I would ask Dio questions, because Dio is one of my all-time favorite antagonists in anime. I would actually ask him, what it was like in the coffin for like 100 years. Also, what it felt like to, become a vampire. That'd be one thing, but also I would ask, you know, where his ideas for achieving heaven came from. How he came to that. Like, where did he come up with the ideas? I would ask him questions like that because that'd be interesting. The fate servant I would go with is Mordred. I mean, she's best girl. I love Mordred. I mean, you don't mess with the saber of red. But yeah, that's just me though. But yeah, very good questions. So now it's time to go to the questions on Discord. Awu asks, best orange-haired girl, Penny or Nora? I gotta go with Nora. I've had more fun with Nora in the series up until Volume 7 because Volume 7. But yeah, no, definitely Nora over Penny in my opinion. So yeah, Nora takes the cake in my opinion over Penny. It's just Penny, her coming back. I just haven't liked that. I mean, Penny as a character is good, just haven't liked that. They brought her back because death doesn't seem like a consequence. Who's the best girl in High School DxD? Oh, well, to me, the best girl is Zenobia. I love me some Zenobia. I mean, yeah, she may be socially awkward, but good God, that woman knows how to fight, and she just has great comedic moments. I love Zenobia. Darth Kai asks, guys, would you rather fall in love with a villainess who treats you with love and happiness along with admiring your skills and admit that you're right and is consistent with her hopes and dreams, or a heroine who insults you, lies to you, will beat you up for being correct, and goes against everything she once stood for? I would go for the villainess. I mean, that's pretty obvious because if the villainess is going to treat you with love and happiness along with admiring your skills, and will admit that you're right, whenever you are right, then yeah, I mean, why not? Who would want to be with a heroine that basically, from what you're stating here, would be abusive and it lies to you and is hypocritical? Yeah, no, I don't think I would want that heroine then. I'd go for the villainous 100%. I think any sane person would at that point. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, Shaft or John Wick? I personally like John Wick more than Shaft. Shaft is awesome, don't get me wrong. But I am a John Wick fan, true and true, 100%. Floof asks, what are your top 5 favorite Utena episodes? Oh boy, that's a good question. I love Utena. If I had to say my top 5 favorites, now one of these might actually be my number one, because I'm gonna just name them off in random order really. But I love the episode where they have to try to get Utena and Himemiya back in their own bodies. I love that one because the elephants drive me crazy. That was so funny. That was hysterical. I also love the jury episodes. I like episode 7, and I think it was episode 28 and 29. Those were good. Episode 34 is just brilliant. Episode 39, the finale is amazing. I mean, overall, they are absolutely fantastic. I just love them to death. Like, those are my favorite episodes, I'd say, of all of Utena. Anime Eek 116 asks, "What do you think of these memes?" Oh yeah, this is the meme with Ruby. Like whenever they're talking about gun enthusiasts, liking weapons when Ruby used to love weapons. Yeah, man, it's funny, but yeah, I miss those days of that good old Ruby. This is what I like because I addressed this multiple times in a couple of reviews where I was like, yeah, Weiss, her design was basically just stolen from Artoria because that's true. Saber from Fate, Artoria, they stole Weiss's design from that. I bet you. I bet you they did because it just looks too similar. Oh, here's a good one. The one about Robin Hill being arrested for being abusive to a chair. Oh, this is pretty funny. I mean, seriously, Robin Hill, terrible character, absolute garbage, absolute trash as a character. And then another meme. Oh yeah, talking about the headcanon in Ruby, how people try to explain things through just sheerly headcanon because there's so many inconsistencies and so many problems and so many things that just haven't been explained in the series. Yeah. So a couple of these images here you sent, yeah, they look pretty good. I really like this one. This was actually very interesting. I don't know what it's from though, but I think this is from the fan fiction you were telling me about. And then the other one that you sent here, this one looks awesome. Now I really love this one. I think this one is very well done. What I also like is on the character here with wearing the helmet, right? I like how he's got like the on his wrist those bands. They look like the Mandalorian armor. It's pretty cool actually, kind of like what Boba Fett was wearing. I think it's awesome. Now this was a meme that was actually making fun of the Atlas military because Atlas military is trash and we all know it. Yeah, because it proves RT doesn't know what a military is or how it works. And then Ruby Volume 7, and then Milo Murphy's Law. Yeah, at this point, I'll be real. What isn't better than Ruby? I would say there's like very few things that is not actually better than Ruby. Like because Ruby's just so trash now. And then this one of the waifu. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This one's about the waifu wanting to have a kid, and then it's like, oh, your waifu's wanting to have a kid, and you're trying to run from it. Yeah, I've seen this meme like multiple times. Yeah, and then this one's another one about the Atlas military and basically how they're just so bad because, like I said, Rooster Teeth does not understand how the military works. They clearly prove that in entertainment. They don't understand how it works. And then, of course, this one's about the Ruby fanatics. Oh, yeah. And then it's like, anybody would basically say that, oh, yeah, all these anime are better. You got Demon Slayer, you got Goblin Slayer, you got Angel Beats, you got Hero Academia. Yeah, you get Toradora. Yeah, Assassination Classroom, Rise of a Shield Hero. Yeah, I mean, you got tons of series here that within these memes that, yeah, they just each one of them, in fact, they all just beat Ruby in terms of being better. I mean, they do. They're all better than Ruby. And then, oh yeah, this one about Bumblebee. Like how basically Bumblebee was just shoved in everyone's faces, and that's the thing. It was. Had it been properly developed, nobody would have had a problem with it. Had it been written well, nobody would have had a problem. But it wasn't, and it was trash, and it still is trash. Yeah, Robin Hill here, of course, where she commits all the crimes and whatnot, and then it's like people are like, someone should have done something about this, like Atlas. Yeah. Oh yeah, this one here also about where's the main character so we can ship them. Yeah, here's the thing: even if the main characters weren't in an episode, they're still getting shipped regardless. It doesn't matter. It's happened regardless. And then oh yeah, fandom. Isn't her dress so cool? Fate fans that looks like a Saber reject of anything. Yeah, yeah. Weiss looks like a Saber reject. I'm so certain they took that design from Artoria and then just decided to strap on extra belts and just make the design look worse. I bet you that's exactly what they did. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh yeah, then the fall of Beacon. Ah man, if only we had the fall of Atlas. Am I right? If only we actually had the fall of Atlas. Man, that would have been great. But nope, we didn't get that. We just got terrible political crap. That's all we got. It's trash. And then, of course, talking about the subreddit, looking up stuff. That's pretty good. And then the Dr. Watts meme. Yeah, yeah. Think about it there's a lot of things I could say about Dr. Watts that was very disappointing to me as an antagonist in Volume 7. A lot of things, but it's Ruby, so I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Oh yeah, and then yeah. could this woman be one of my people? And then it's like the triggered fandom. Oh man, why do people say I'm useless for 5 volumes straight? Oh cool. Oh, maybe Weiss is because you never won a single fight against any human characters, and then when you do, you win because of virtue signaling, not because you're actually good. Yeah, Rooster Teeth threw Weiss's potential out the window. Like Adam, which this meme right here is where like past Adam's talking to the Adam we knew in the present. Where he's talking about like, is there anything more depth to me as a character? That's what this meme is basically going on about. And the part where it goes, Adam fans, backstory denied. Ugh. They destroyed you, Adam. That's the thing. This is what I'm going to say. When it comes to writers, the big thing is that even if you don't like a character, you still need to treat them with respect regardless, because if they're important to the plot, you still need to, help people understand them regardless of how you may feel. And I understand a writer's going to like some characters more than others that they, create, but still, you don't treat a character just completely like trash. You just end them, just throw them out of the picture just because you don't like them. I mean, you gotta really work your way into doing what you're gonna do with the character. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And then, of course, another one with Volume 4 Blake, and then Volume 7 Blake. And this is basically Blake talking to herself in the future about how they were doing the shipping stuff, like how everything changed and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, if past Blake looked at present Blake, I think past Blake would be like, "What happened to my life to make this happen to me?" Because they just destroyed Blake's character. They really did. This meme I've seen a lot. I've seen this one a lot of times. The Chronicles of Narnia manga adaptation. That's funny. Then it throws them out the window. Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes of that one. Oh, and then this one, yeah, about fan fiction posts. Yeah, it's sad because like a lot of Ruby fan fiction posts, which there's a lot of really good ones. I mean, yeah, there are some bad ones out there, but there are also some good ones. They just, it's sad to see it. They just don't get attention. Like there's just a lot of them that just get treated badly, just get thrown out there, and just people don't care about them. It's pretty sad. And then also, a manga adaptation again. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then Ministers of Defense, Albania, Netherlands, Germany, Norway, Italy, USA. Be polite, be professional, but have a plan to end everyone you meet. What? Oh man. And then of course another one here talking about you don't need sensitivity training or a safe space. Oh man, because yeah, that's pretty funny actually. That's pretty funny. And then another one here is what my recruiter said would happen, what actually happened. Here's the Spartan program. Wait a minute. And then it's just that's pretty funny. Oh man, yeah, that would disappoint anybody. I think at that point, I think anybody would be upset over that. And then another meme here: Air Force, Navy, Army, and then Marines. Yeah, that one's pretty interesting. This is pretty interesting actually. So then going on to the next part of his question here, he continues to ask, also, what do you think of these songs? Now, the thing about this is that when I tried your links to these songs, one of them said that the video was not available. That was the very first link. The other three I tried to go to, and it said that it couldn't take me to the page. I tried doing it manually, going through the links you provided. I also tried even typing them in myself, and it just wouldn't load up the page. So if you would like to send them to me again, I will check them again. But the very first one said the video was unavailable, so I don't know what's going on there. If something may have happened since you sent the link, I don't know. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, Sync Yurger or Alex Jones. I always get his name wrong, but I would definitely approve of Alex Jones over him, 100%. Like I am all for Alex Jones over that guy. Just saying. Mr. DJ Fly High then asks, how do you look at movies and Ruby episodes objectively? Now, I'm weird when it comes to this because, whenever I look at a movie poster or I look at a trailer, um, there's a lot of times to where I kind of feel like whether it's going to be good or not just by looking at it. It's kind of strange. But when I look at Ruby, I'm to the point where I can't really even look at Ruby objectively very much anymore. Like, it's just, uh, I don't know. It's just Ruby. I just look at it with the negative output. I mean, it sounds bad, but it's just I'm so used to the series just getting worse. So Mana asks, favorite Final Fantasy VII character? Gotta go with Sephiroth as one of them. One of them. Because I have more than one, really. It's kind of hard for me to say, but Sephiroth is definitely one of my three favorites of all time. I mean, like, he's, to me, one of the most iconic villains in fiction. Like, he's so good as a character. And what he set out to achieve was just amazing. Then again, I will never forget the final boss fight with a supernova. Just kind of getting bashed with that thing. Like, good God. Sephiroth was a complete and total monster. And to this very day, he's one of my favorite villains in fiction, period. I mean, it's fantastic. Cloud definitely is one of them because, I just enjoyed his character. Not only that, but his design's amazing and the Buster Sword. I mean, who doesn't love the look of that thing? I think it's awesome. And, Cloud, he's just been one of those protagonists in Final Fantasy that just stands out more than the rest, in my opinion. But then again, you could say it's because Final Fantasy VII is like the most known Final Fantasy. And then, of course, there's Tifa because, she's the best girl, in my opinion. Like, I've always loved Tifa as a character. Her dynamic with Cloud as well, the relationship since, they were kids growing up. I've always found her to be a fantastic character, and gotta say, 100% waifu status right there. But very good question for sure. Ant Demon asks, if you could change your name to anything at all, what would you change it to? Oh, that's a good question. I've always hated my first name, and I've always wanted to change it. If I did change it, I'd probably change it to Roy. I don't know. I've always liked that name for some reason. Roy's always been a name that stood out to me in a good way. I don't know. So, Anime Eek 116 asks, Do you like Black Rifle Coffee Company coffee? If so, what's your favorite brew? Mine's Silent Smooth. Personally, I can't stand coffee. I've tried to drink it multiple times. I just don't like coffee. I don't know. I've never been a fan of coffee, but that's just me. I don't know. It's just not something for me. Owu asks, who was your first waifu as a kid? Mine was Misty for Pokemon. Misty's a good option. That was a good waifu. I'm not gonna deny. Mine has always been Sabrina. I always loved Sabrina's character. A lot of people feared her character because the Pokemon anime and whatnot. But I don't know. There's just something about Sabrina. Like I've always enjoyed her design, her character, and some people give some flack for the character arc of Sabrina in the anime, but I think that it really gave a lot of depth to who she actually was, considering that she was someone who had developed her psychic powers as a child by bending spoons, which is actually canon in the games as well. And she may have seemed cold, but realistically, I think she was a great character. Besides, that whole arc for Ash was it was an interesting one, but I think that was one of the best characteristics that they could have given to a gym leader. And I've always loved Sabrina, and Sabrina was always a challenge within the Gen 1 games. In fact, I would arguably state that she was the best gym leader because psychic types back in Generation 1, they really just didn't have any weaknesses, because if you look at it, ghost types actually were not effective at all on psychic types back in Generation 1. Not only that, but there was only one bug type move in the game, which was Twin Needle, and that was on Beedrill, and that was a terrible move on a terrible Pokemon because, Poison type is also bad against Psychic, so Sabrina would just slam you down with Alakazam, which Sabrina having Alakazam, which is, in my opinion, one of the best Psychic types in the game, um, yeah, that's a good Pokemon to have by your side as your main. I mean, Alakazam now gets Nasty Plot, which, when Alakazam's in the new generation games, Alakazam's going to be a very disgusting Pokemon to deal with. I mean, my god, it's going to be so powerful, but Sabrina, yeah, I've always loved Sabrina. The Heart Gold Soul Silver design is my favorite. Now, this one you're looking at here is the Gen 1 design, which is still really good, but, I've always been a fan of the Heart Gold Soul Silver design. But, yeah, Sabrina, I love her character. I don't know. She's always been that one that I've always enjoyed. She's still up there for me for, Pokemon waifus, man. She's in my top three. Ant Demon asks, I forgot if this has been asked, but favorite song from the Ruby soundtrack? That's hard to say. I really like Lion Eyes, and I really like One Thing. I like a lot of the first three volumes also, but those are probably two of like the most recent that I really enjoyed. I also like Die, Sacrifice, Divide, and Red Like Roses Part 2. Those are probably my favorites. But yeah, good question. Awu asked favorite juice. I don't know. Grape juice, I guess. Then again, I'm very picky when it comes to drinks. Food, I can eat whatever food you put on my plate, but there's not very many drinks that I actually do like. I mean, there are very few, but it's not very many. Awu then goes on to ask, what do you think of Tucker Carlson? You're talking about the Fox News anchor. I don't really care too much for him, to be honest. But then again, when it comes to the mainstream media, they tell a lot of lies. They really try to inflate the truth from what it really is a lot of the time. So, when it comes to a lot of that, I'm very skeptical of the news. But, that's just me. Wood then goes on to ask, what do you think of Kurumi Tokisaki from Data Live? Yes, Kurumi is a fantastic character, 100% waifu material, by the way. But yes, I do like Kurumi. I think that she is a great character, personally. Mr. DJ Flyhigh asks, Jordan or Shaq? I gotta go with Michael Jordan, man. I think that he was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Awu asks, favorite OP waifus? There was a long list of that I could go on to, but I'll kind of make it brief with some of them. So, Yoroichi. I definitely enjoy Yoroichi's character. I would say that she's OP because if you read the manga, which of course is going to be adapted next year into the anime, which, finally, Bleach fans rejoice. I've always enjoyed Yoroichi, and so she's definitely one of them up there, in my opinion, especially if you get to see in the final arc what she does. Yeah, she's a very powerful character, one not to be underestimated. I mean, then again, she's been known as a powerful character before, so it's not like this is anything new, but when you get to see her go out in a fight that happens later, it's really good. I don't want to spoil it, though. I gotta go with also Rios from High School DxD. I mean, you know, this devil right here. She is definitely a beautiful one, great character, but she's also one that you don't want to piss off because, you know, she's gonna blow a hole through things. She's gonna destroy things if you were to make her mad because that power, whoa, fantastic. Now, a big one here for me. I actually really enjoy Android 21. If there's a character that I really think was really well done in the Dragon Ball Fighters game, she is that one. I think that her design is absolutely fantastic. I mean, she's strong enough to blow up planets. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we can all acknowledge that easily because it's Dragon Ball. Most of the characters at this point where they can basically do that. At least the Z fighters, that is. But I just love her character because like she was just so good almost instantaneously. I don't know. And the DNA that is within her, also having like Majin DNA, multiple DNA within her, but the Majin DNA, with her Majin form, I just love it. I love the way she looks within that form. Like Toriyama knew what he was doing when he was designing this character. Like I gotta give Akira Toriyama credit, and he was really good at making waifu bait right here because hot damn, you knew what you were doing, sir. And yes, I really do love Android 21 personally, and I think that she is a great character, really. Now, this one, kind of OP. I mean, like, I would kind of put her on the list as Megumi. Megumi in Konosuba is just so good. Her explosion spell and everything. Of course, she always wants to go for the final blow, so she's kind of like waiting out because, she wants that final hit. So it's like, but I love the comedy to this character, but like, whenever she gets that final blow, she is a pretty powerful character. And, props to the girl because I really do enjoy Megumin. And she's actually my favorite girl in all of Konosuba. So yeah, explosions all the way. Who can't enjoy those? Am I right? I mean, Megumin, you got it going for you, and I bet you Michael Bay would just love this character because explosions. I mean, but Mordred. Mordred is such a powerful character. I have always enjoyed her. I just it's almost like there is a list. Like anytime a Q&A happens, it's like she just has to be on there. I don't know. Mordred, like I understand you're an OP character. I understand that you are the Red Berserker, but man, you always make it on my list, and I'm just over here like, man, I love this character so much. Like I cannot help myself. And every time she gets into a fight, it's going to be amazing. Like that's the thing. That's one huge thing about Mordred is she has brilliant fights that are actually some of my favorite in the entire Fate series. I don't know. It's just uh, every time it always comes down to Mordred being on the list. This is the reoccurring character. It's like you look at Smash Bros. You see the reoccurring character. She's like that character for my roster if there was a roster like that. Definitely waifu roster. Erza's also on this list because I would say she is a pretty overpowered character in Fairy Tail at least. I mean, she punched a meteor and destroyed it. She proved that she's Superman. She's the Fairy Tail equivalent to Superman in my opinion. I mean, like, yeah, Superman's like way way stronger, of course, but like that's the best way I can really define Erza's character because she's a brilliant character, has a great personality, and she's also very strong. She has a feminine side to her, but like, she's that character that's just brilliant in multiple ways. But she's one of those characters you don't want to anger either because on the receiving end, she'll destroy you with ease. But another one is Ellie. One big thing about Ellie is like Ellie is like one of those just waifus that I can't help but adore because like Rave was such a good series and I just always loved Ellie. I mean, Ellie's strong enough that she can just destroy a planet. She's got the Ethereon that she can just destroy a planet with ease if she really wanted to. And so yeah, pretty OP, but she's got that adorable personality. I love her to death. Like she's another one of those waifus that hits the OP list. I mean, I could go off with more, but I'll just put it with those for now. Mr. DJ Fly High then goes on to ask, what do you think of Kirby heavily using deep theme, symbolism, and political commentary, and why do they use it? Also, how do these affect the rule of cool? Big thing about this is, you know, Ruby was a very simple series at one point in time. It was a series that it wasn't hard to get into. Um, Now with them trying to push all this political crap, symbolism, all this stuff, it's infuriating. It doesn't help the series at all. Um, I hate it. It's what ruined Volume 7 100%. It's trash. It's absolute trash they do this stuff. And what they've done is they've bastardized the character so much that they are so nerfed from what they once were. The rule of cool, that doesn't really exist anymore because, whenever the rule of cool happened, you would see like areas and stuff be destroyed when they fight. Now they just fight like they're normal humans. It's boring and terrible, and it's just, it's awful. So Minato Arisato asks, if you had the choice to change one thing in the story of Ruby, what would it be? Oh God. Oh God. There's so many things I would change, but if I had to specifically change one thing, I would change Adam's character. If I had to do one thing, I would change him to being better than he was, because they did him dirty. Like, I would change Adam, like, for the better. I'd make him what he was supposed to be, not this trash they made him be. Cute Ruby Rose, not Volume 7, asks Lucina or Neo. Oh, oh, that's a tough one. I love Neo, and everybody knows I love Neo's character. I mean, she's my favorite in the series of Ruby. But, like with every character, they're going to ruin Neo too. I mean, they've already disrespected her by having her get punched in the face by a damn farm boy. But ultimately, I don't feel like they're going to know how to write Neo, really. But Lucina's a character that 100% waifu material. Like, I love Lucina. From her design to her character to her fighting style. Good God, I love Lucina. Lucina's not ever been a character that's disappointed me. Like, I just enjoy her immensely. Especially with her character arc in Fire Emblem Awakening. Like, she never gave up hope, and she wanted to ensure that the timeline she went back to save would never become like the one that was her timeline. She was a very wonderful character, and she just was the embodiment of never giving up, I think, because she didn't. Then again, also, whenever Fire Emblem Heroes, had her, in the, bunny costume. I mean, seriously, where's that Neo fan service? Where's Neo gonna get these great designs? I mean, seriously, this was beautiful. I mean, the artist that did this, you were fantastic. You need to make more good concepts for Lucina outfits. I'll give you that one because, oh, you know how to make it good. I mean, and also not only that, but Lucina also got that swimsuit as well. Yeah, that was yes, very much so needed and appreciated. So yeah, if I had to go with a character, which one I'd like more, yes, I do love Lucina more than I do Neo's character, personally, but that's just me. Good question though. Zero Returns asks, favorite Gen 1 Pokemon game? Well, red, blue, green, and yellow are pretty much the same thing. Except for, yellow just has added features. Not too much though, it's different. But I started with red, and red was kind of my favorite, I guess. But Pokemon Stadium, I guess, counts, and that was a fantastic game, But yeah, I mean, I guess I'd go with red and maybe Stadium. Awu asks, any waifus you don't like besides any from Ruby? And how would you make Neo great again? Any waifus I don't like? I don't like Hinata Hyuga from Naruto. I know there's a lot of people out there that like her, and that's fine if you do. I just don't like her because I don't feel like she was a well-written character. I just don't. I just don't like Hinata personally. That's just me though. How would I make Neo great again? I would make her be as strong as she had always been. Not only that, but I would give her a backstory because she needs that for us to better understand her character. I mean, she needs to be a great character for a change rather than how she got punched by a damn farm boy. I'm serious. I'm still salty over that. But I would make her have a good, enticing story and, have her have, like, badass fight scenes, like she used to always have. But yeah, good question. Inkpole asks, here's a different one. Who would you kiss, marry, and kill? Cinder, Ilya, or Tak? I would definitely kill Tak. I'd kiss Ilya and I'd marry Cinder because while Cinder may be a terribly written character, she definitely, to me, is still waifu material. So Ivan Kobezer asks, um, Trigger Lord Nick67, include this in your future Q&A. You've received ultimate power. You become God. What are the first 5 things you'll do? First off, solve world hunger, because that's something that I would definitely try to do. I would try to make sure that everybody was always having food, so they could always have nutrition in their life. They need substance to survive. I'd say another thing would be get rid of cancel culture, because it's terrible. I mean, it's so bad. I would get rid of that. Another thing, let's get rid of this terrible SJW entertainment. Just erase it. Another thing to help the homeless. Give them homes. Like just kind of like establish homes for these people they can live in. So they don't have to be homeless. Do something good for them. So they don't have to live out in the streets. And also eradicate terrible diseases, because my God, we got enough of those. Like, it would be better off if people didn't have to worry about getting sick or having terrible diseases to have to deal with every day. You know what I mean? Like, cancer, for example, or things like that. Like, erase it, because it'd be better off not having that stuff. But yeah, good question. Owu asks, your top 10 anime fights. Now that's a big one. I love the Gohan and Cell fight from Dragon Ball Z. Definitely love the fight in Part 5 of JoJo in Golden Wind, with Diavolo and Giorno with Gold Experience Requiem. Love that fight. I also love Part 3 with Jotaro versus Dio. That is so good. I also love the Revy and Roberta fight. That is one of my all-time favorite fights. Like, I love that fight to death. I love the Roy Mustang fight with Lust in Full Monogamous Brotherhood. That was so good. I also, while I'm not a fan of the Great Ninja War arc, I do like the fight with Madara versus the Kages. I thought that was awesome. I love the Ichigo and Ukiura fight in Bleach. That was really good. Love that fight. I love the Colin versus Suzaku fight, the final battle they had in Code Geass, the second season. I really enjoyed that fight. That was awesome. I love the fight in Hunter x Hunter between Meruem and Netero. That fight was brilliant. I love that fight. And this one's not really so much a hand-to-hand combat fight, but I love the fight between Yugi and Kaiba in Battle City. That was also one of my all-time favorite fights. So memorable to me. Awu asks, name every Gundam suit you can remember off the top of your head. No cheating with the internet. The God Gundam from G Gundam, I remember that one, because that's my favorite series, is G Gundam. There was also Char Zaku 2 that I can remember. And the Barbatos from Iron Blooded Orphans. The Calamity Gundam. And I do remember the Gundam Ashtaroth. I remember those. At least those were ones I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, that's about all I've really got. Tsundere or Yandere traps? Well, I'd rather go with the Tsundere trap than a Yandere one, because Yandere one's going to kill me. So, if I look at someone else, so Tsundere. Minato Arisato asks, your top 10 Persona waifus. Oh, now that's a good one. I gotta start off with Chihaya, because I feel like Chihaya is a character that is just completely underrated. I don't know. I don't really see enough of her. At least I don't. I mean, people, could correct me and say that they see more, but I don't ever see enough of her. Other character I really love from Persona would be Marie. Her design has always been one that I've really liked. I don't know. It definitely stands out. It's a great design, and her character is just fun. I don't know. I always like Marie's character, but she's great. Another one that I've always liked, because she's brilliant, is Dr. Tae Takumi. I love this woman. Like, I'll walk into that room and I'd be like, hello, nurse. Except for she's a doctor, but you get the point. Another one is Rize Kujikawa. I love her character. Even though she was an idol, I love her personality. I mean, she's very cheerful, and she can be very outspoken and cute, and she can be quite boastful. But, I really personally enjoy her character. I mean, she's just so good. Another one on here is from Persona 5 Royale, Sumire Yoshizawa. Now, I'm not going to go into too many details because, the game's out, and, when it comes down to it, I don't want to spoil stuff, but I think that her character is actually pretty awesome. I mean, she's one who's gone through her own struggles, but I really like what they did with her character, but that is just me. But like I said, I'm not going to jump into the details of that for people to figure that out for themselves. Another favorite is Yukari Takeba. I have always thought of her as kind of like a ray of sunshine, until she has her mood swings kick in. But I think it's kind of funny that she just kind of gets upset over trivial things. It's kind of hilarious, kind of a funny little quirk to her character. Futaba is also another one of my favorites. She was a great character when it came to the Phantom Thieves. I liked her Persona 5 a lot. Like, Futaba, definitely one of those for the win. Now, here's one of my favorite characters. Say Nijima. Now, you want to talk about an alluring beauty. Oh, yeah, this is her right here. Because, Say may have been one to be caught up in her work, but, that's what I liked about that. Like, I liked that she was a character that was dedicated to her work. And she was a good investigator. Gotta give her that. I just really enjoyed her character. Her design is fantastic. I mean, I don't know. Just a great character. Now, Anne, okay, let's be real. Anne is brilliant. I mean, if I had to say, she is definitely my second favorite Persona girl. Like in the entire series, out of all the female characters in Persona, she really takes the cake. I mean, like, I have always enjoyed Anne. And I think she was one of the more fun and interesting characters in Persona 5. Like, best girl in Persona 5. And then, of course, in my opinion, the best girl out of all, though, is Mitsuru. She, to me, is just the best. Like, not only that, but thankfully she beat Weiss in a death battle because, there's no reason why Mitsuru should have ever lost had they ever done that. Thankfully they didn't, but best girl right here in all of Persona. You could fight me on that one, but like, to me, she is the best girl. And, there's no change in my mind. Then again, redheads, man. Got a thing for them. That's a big thing for me. But yeah, Mitsuru, best girl. Wu asks, what would you do if you came home to these three? I would be in heaven. I would jump in. I would, that would be the best time. That would be the best time. But, I'm just saying. A triple Neo party? Yeah, that's going to be a fun time. Mr. DJ Flyhigh asks, having deep themes or social commentary in your film means nothing if your screenplay is a steaming turd that makes no sense. A work of fiction, even a horror film, still needs rules to govern its reality and serve as its foundation of its story. We need to know what's possible and what isn't. Otherwise, there is no reason to be invested in what's happening because literally anything else could happen to resolve it. A good film, or in this case, anime series, would work within those rules, cleverly manipulating our understanding of them to deliver unexpected outcome that still makes sense given what we know in retrospect. A bad one will make the rules up as it goes along, bending and warping them around the ever-changing requirements of the plot. That result is that instead of delivering a coherent and interesting story, what you get instead is a bunch of inexplicable stuff that happens with no logical rules underpinning it. Just a collection of superficial scenes, situation, and events that the writer thought it would look cool. Well, unfortunately, cool doesn't equal smart. Cool isn't anything but cheap endorphin hit that comes and goes with no lasting impression. My question would be from the statement, how can RT remedy without compromising the deep theme, symbolism, and political commentary they have inserted already? At this point, I don't really think they can. I mean, when you look at how much that they've thrown in there at this point and how many things that they've just changed as they've gone along, problem is they would have to basically just reconstruct the entire lore from the beginning. I mean, it's so far damaged. I like at this point they'd have to start over. I don't really think they could keep going, especially with all the theme, symbolism, and political commentary they keep pushing in. I don't think they could do it. I think that they've just dug the grave already. Because I don't see any way for them to fix that unless they were to just rebuild it from the ground up. That's the only possible outcome I could really see. I mean, very good question. I mean, that's the only answer I could really come up with for that one. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, what do you think of the Snyder cut of Justice League that's coming out next year? Well, I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder. I don't think he really understands characters he writes for. But I do think it's a good thing for the fans because the fans deserve the Snyder cut. So those that are fans of him, I'm glad for them because I think they do deserve the cut of, Justice League. Is it going to make the movie any better? Maybe, maybe not. I can't tell you, but um, I would say that I think it's a good thing for the fans at least. So I do think this is a good thing. Just a Phantom ask, what is your opinion about Beastars? I have not watched it. Um, but so I don't really have an opinion on it because I haven't watched it. But good question though. I'll let you know if I do watch it. Minato Arisato asks your top 10 favorite JoJo stands. Oh ho ho ho! Oh, this will be a good one. So I would have to say at number 10 would be Killer Queen. I love this stand. I mean, anything you touch, can just be made as a bomb. I mean, that's amazing. Not only that, but the design of Killer Queen just looks so cool. I mean, I have always loved that design. Araki, he's good at coming up with good designs for stands, I think. Then goes on to number 9 because Black Sabbath. I'm going to say this right now about Black Sabbath. This was a stand that this was going to be something that you would have to make very metal. And luckily, Araki did it. He made this stand look beautiful. There was actually justice given to this stand. I have to say that it was absolutely brilliant, the design he came up with here. But I mean, I have always loved Black Sabbath. It is one of my favorite stands in all of JoJo. Its design alone just screams awesome. And then another one of my favorites is Fugo's Purple Haze. Purple Haze is such a deadly stand. Like this stand, I think it looks brilliant. I also have to say though at the same time, this stand is extremely deadly. You would have to use this with your allies being elsewhere. Otherwise, this stand's going to kill you. I mean, this stand is so awesome though. I've always loved Purple Haze. And then another one of my favorites is Metallica. I love this stand. I mean, it can also steel the very iron within your body. That's crazy. This stand is so good. Like, I love how you can just, like, turn weapons, like, out of blood. Like, you can make weapons from blood into somebody's body. It's crazy. I also love Weather Report. Now, this is another stand that's one of my favorites in Part 6. I mean, hey, you want it to rain whenever you want it to rain. Well, that sounds pretty crazy. I mean, that's deadly. Like, I love Weather Report. And then when I look at another one of my favorite stands, Heaven's Door. This stand is so good. And, for it to just be able to take your body, make a book out of it, you can have any knowledge you want. I mean, that's insane. And then you can write whatever, and they'll do whatever you say. Talk about the brilliant mind control stand. And, it was also my favorite character in all of Part 4, which is Rohan. Rohan was my favorite Part 4. And, in the dub, I found out that he was also voiced by Vic. It's pretty awesome. Another one of my favorite stands is King Crimson. The design of the stand is just excellent. I love it. But its stand abilities are just so ridiculously good. King Crimson. I love the stand. Not only that, but Diavolo. To think, oh yeah, you tried to avoid death. Go experience Requiem made sure you couldn't do that though, now didn't it? Also, when you look at it, another one that's one of my favorites is D4C. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Man, Part 7 is so good. And Funny Valentine, he's my favorite character of Part 7. Just that stand, the design, its ability, so good. And then, another stand from Part 7, which is also Tusk Act 4. That stand is ridiculous. Like, the ultimate spin. Oh, so good. Yeah, I really do like Tusk Act 4, and its design is so cool. I just love it. One of my all-time favorites, though, is obviously the world. I like Star Platinum, and the thing is, though, the one thing that puts the world over Star Platinum, even though I really love Star Platinum itself, is just I like the design of the world better. Like, the world is just like the embodiment of Dio. Like, it just suits him. It just perfectly suits Dio, and I love the world. But then again, nobody will ever forget the world. Oh man, great stand. Time stop too, man. Dio had such a great power. And then we can't forget, this is my favorite stand of all time, which is Gold Experience Requiem. Like the scene itself, which David Production, when they animated this also, like the scene in the manga was beautiful, and then of course when they animated this, ah, it's gorgeous. Like I love the scene when Gold Experience Requiem just comes to being, like, oh man, it's so cool. And they did that scene so brilliantly. Gold Experience Requiem is the strongest stand in all of JoJo, but you know, it's just fantastic. I love it. It's just the greatest stand ever. Favorite design as well. It's fantastic. Boo I Spaniard asks, if you could kill off one Ruby character, which one would it be? How would you do it and why? How would you fit it in the rest of the story? Just keep in mind that it has to make sense and that it has to count. No penny resurrection crap and no Weiss impalement for shock value. I'm talking permanent death. Oh man, that's a good one. If I had to say kill off a character, as much as I hate John and I want his character dead, if there was somebody that I think would make sense dying, it would be Crow. He's been that mentor character for so long for Ruby. I think that if he died, which he should probably die, if I had him die, I think I would have him die while trying to protect Ruby from someone like Cinder or Tyrion or something like that. And in turn, with him dying, with Ruby seeing it happen, this could be development for her character. This could go through an emotional arc for her because, yeah, she may have lost her mom, but to actually see like someone like Crow die who was a mentor to her, that would be interesting to maybe push her to actually be better than she actually is. To make her want to actually become a better huntress. I think that would be something, as well as to want her to actually feel that there's sacrifice here for a change. That they lost someone very important. I think that would be the perfect character to kill off, and for development reasons. Just by opinion, though. But, I'm just saying. But yeah, good question. Minato Arisato then asks, what manga series do you think deserves an anime adaptation? One that I think will get one, but that I think deserves one, but I'm very sure it will get one eventually. I think Eden Zero should get it. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, it already has, and I just don't know it. But Eden Zero would be a series by Hiro Mashima that I'd like to see actually get an anime. I'd love to see that happen. A Woo, worst manga series that shouldn't be an anime. I'm not really sure. I mean, there are some bad manga out there. I don't know. I'd have to really look into that. I'd have to get back to you on that question because I'm not really sure actually. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, in many recent years, I have been seeing that RT and Ruby, especially in the fandoms of shipping, if you are not 100% in agreement with RT or the fandom, especially the shipping when you are my enemy, then we cannot be friends. I will say this is what has become of RT and Ruby, especially in the fandom and shipping, which are filled with progressives. It has become a world of purity test. Could you see this way of thinking kill RT in the long run? How can they build better relationships with the hateum? Do you think these purity tests will help RT and Ruby, especially in the fandoms and shipping, which are filled with progressives, win? So to your first question, could you see this way of thinking kill RT in the long run? Yes, because, if there's anything, if you ever pander to Puritans, you're going to go downhill. It's going to collapse because they don't support people. They don't support what they say they support. They never support these companies. They just try to run them into the ground. That's what they do. They just try to ruin the fun for people who actually enjoy it, and then they run it into the ground. That's how this works. So no, this is not going to save RT in the long run. It will kill them if they continue doing this stuff. How can they build better relationships with the hateum? At this point, they've burned so many bridges. They would have to completely change their ways because the way that they've treated real fans like us. No, it's like Lucasfilm at this point in how they've treated Star Wars and Star Wars fans. Like, they would have to fire certain people and they would have to completely change a lot of things because, yeah, as they are now, I can't see them building better relationships because they don't want to either, because they have to want to. They don't want to do that. Do you think these purity tests will help RT and Ruby, especially in the fandoms and shipping, which are filled with progressives, win? It's not going to help them win. It never does. There's a reason why it's called Get Woke, Go Broke. RT has gotten woke, and they're going broke. Because, they think that, what they're doing is going to lead them to a, good, prosperous lifestyle. That's not true. In fact, it's making them lose money. It's been destroying them. And the more they treat fans terribly, the more that they cater to this kind of stuff. No, it's not going to win in the end. It's not going to help them. Especially with them pushing their own agendas and everything. No, they're just going to collapse that much faster. I mean, you know, it's gotten to the point where they've dug their own grave, and now they're just pretty much continuing to dig until it collapses in on themselves. That's basically what it's going to happen. That's what's going to happen from all of this. That's where it's going to go. Wu asks, if you were a bender, what element would you use? I would probably use water because blood bending. Yeah, that would be OP. Like, that would be so overpowered. So yeah, no, I gotta go with that blood bending. So water, definitely. Minato Arisato asks, do you have any childhood cartoon or anime crushes? I have a few. So I've already mentioned off my first one, but back in the day, I love Sailor Moon. I still do to this very day. I actually remember watching it in the dub, and then later on I went and watched it in the sub. But the best girl for me in Sailor Moon would definitely have to be Rei, 100%. She was number one waifu, and while she may have had conflicts with Usagi or Serena, whichever name you call her, you know, they were ultimately in the end friends. And thing of it is that I always loved her character, her interactions with Usagi. It was just always great. And I don't know, it's just always had a thing for her character back in the day. This very day she's still number one Sailor Moon waifu for me. I just love Sailor Mars. Great character, and to this very day she just holds a good place. Then again, also Sailor Moon got me into other magical girl anime, so you gotta thank it for that. But also Sabrina. Sabrina from Pokemon was also waifu, for me. She was the number one, really. I always loved Sabrina's character. And since I talked about it earlier, I'm not going to get real big into it. But yeah, Sabrina was always, that character that I enjoyed. And I love Sabrina to death this very day. But yeah, good questions. Abu asks, what do you fear? What is there to fear? But fear itself. But realistically, what do I fear? I don't know. Maybe death, I guess. Other than that, I'm really too sure. Not really too sure. It's kind of crazy. You are really unsure of what your own fear is. Mr. DJ Flyhigh asks, what's with the lack of conflict between Juniper and Ruby? Well, they're a hive mind. It's all back to the Puritan mentality of everybody's a hive mind. So there's no conflict. Since everybody thinks the same, there's no conflict. That's the way Rooster Teeth sees it. They have that Puritan mentality, so it's all going to be the same thing. So everybody's just going to agree themselves. That's how it works with them. So that's why there's no, issues between any characters. Awu asks, favorite Twilight Zone episodes? Good lord, I haven't watched a Twilight Zone in, oh man, and if you're meaning like the new ones, I don't care for the new Twilight Zone. If you mean like the old ones that was in black and white, oh man, it's been so long since I've watched that. Oh, it was so good. I don't know. I'd have to go back on that one. I'd have to get back to you on that. It's been so long since I've watched Twilight Zone. Owu then goes on to ask, what's the most annoying thing to you that you hear people say all the time? Like when someone says whatever or woke or it is what it is. I don't like when people say, I can care less. Because when you say I can care less as opposed to I couldn't care less, that means you can go lower on caring about it. That means you haven't hit the bottom. So when you say I can care less, then that means that you could care less, as opposed to where you say you couldn't care less. Mr. DJ Fly asks, Beatles or Rolling Stones? I gotta go with the Beatles on that one, personally. Mr. DJ Fly asks, are RT and Ruby especially in the fandoms of shipping which are filled with progressives any different from the Young Turks? Oh no. Oh, are they any different than the Young Turks? Oh, God. It's bad when you're comparing them to the Young Turks. I would say they're on the same level. At this point, either they're on the same level or they've gotten worse. Oh boy, that's horrible. Yeah, that's bad. Mr. DJ Fly then asks, can we see Kurumi subvert expectations like Ren becoming the one that kills Salem instead of Ruby, or Nora killing Cinder, or even worse, seeing a poly ship between Ruby, Penny, and Weiss? I wouldn't think that they would ever have anybody kill Salem other than like Ruby, because I don't think that they're smart enough to do something like that. A poly ship, I wouldn't be surprised if they ever tried to go that far. I could see it. I could see them doing stuff like that. That wouldn't shock me, though. I bet they'd do it. Mr. DJ Fly High then asks, which is worse, Barb having an OnlyFans account or seeing a Ruby panel cringe moment? Oh, no. The question. Oh, this question. The question that is hard to answer. Oh, I'd say Barb having an OnlyFans account. Because the cringe panels, you can laugh at those because they're so bad, but like Bar having an OnlyFans, like, oh, that's just terrible. Minato Arisato asks, who would win, Volume 7 Team Ruby or Kazuma's gang from Konosuba? Oh, Konosuba, 100%. I mean, even if Aqua's useless, I mean, you got Darkness and you have, Megumi, and you have Kazuma. Like, no, yeah, no, Konosuba wins. Easy. Because Volume 7 Ruby team they're nerfed to hell. They're terrible. What is the first thing you'll do if you're transported into Ruby's world? I will basically be like the Madara of that world. I'd have to go find me Neo and, go from there. Try to slap a ring on that finger. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. What JRPG series do you play? I do love playing me some Pokemon. Then again, I play that competitively. Also, I do love playing Fire Emblem. That series, like, I adore that series to death. Like, oh, like no other. I am a hardcore Fire Emblem fan, as well as I am a hardcore Pokemon fan. Love those series. Do you think that it would have been better if Ruby stuck to the school genre instead of doing an adventure genre? I'd probably say so. It probably would have been better because, the adventure genre, they've made it all about magical MacGuffins and stupid retcons because of it. Oh, man. Really, these characters are still only at, like, school level in terms of power anyways. Really, they do need to still learn and try to become better than they are because there's just no improvement. Ever since Volume 3 onward, there's not been any improvement with the characters. In fact, they've gotten nerfed and gotten worse. So I think that the school genre would have probably been better, but seeing that the writers are just so bad, they'd probably find a way to screw it up too. But you probably should have stuck to the school genre, if anything. Finally, what do you think the future of Ruby will be since the show and Ruby is not in the best shape? Looking at it, I don't think that they'll make it to Volume 9. And if they do, that'll be the end. Because they've lost millions of dollars on Genlock. They continue to lose money. Ruby's popularity keeps going down. And they're having shows go on HBO Max first, like Genlock, before even their own Rooster Teeth first. I don't think they're going to last for very long. If anything, Ruby will probably just end at Volume 8 or 9, and then that's probably it. That's the way I see it going. That's just me. Awu asks, name small companies that you think should replace the big AAA game companies that have gone woke and made terrible games. Oh man, I really don't know because the only thing that's scary to me is the fact that while you have these AAA game companies that have gone woke, while you have these other game companies, they could as well. So I don't know. It's scary because there's just so many companies that bend the knee, and I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you on that one. I'm not sure what companies would be good to replace it. So I don't know. As long as there are smaller companies out there that aren't going to bend the knee, that'd be fine. But it's just a scary thought to look at. Grandcaster asks, how hype will you be for when the Solomon arc gets animated? Also, when that twist happens, he goes out like an absolute Chad. How do you think you're gonna react? I don't know what you mean by that exactly. If you don't mind specifying, I'd appreciate it. I'll answer it next Q&A. Oh, ask favorite Ronkar from Bleach and why? Oh, now I do like Grimjow and I do like Holly Bell, but my favorite is Neliel Tugudnjvak. She's actually my favorite out of all of them. I don't know. She just, I think she has a cool design, but also, how she was the previous number 3 of the Iran cars, I thought it was awesome. And her character was just kind of adorable, and she was extremely powerful. So she was my favorite. I really liked her the best, if I had to say. Awu would then ask, if you could get better VAs for Ruby, who would they be and which character? Oh, that's tough. I mean, I could name off a few characters that I could see. Like, Blake had actually be played by Michelle Ruff. I think that would have been better. I think you could have Matthew Mercer actually play as Ironwood. That would be awesome. And then, I don't know, you could have Laura Bailey actually do like, if they ever decided to have Neo have a voice, have Laura Bailey. I know they had Laura Bailey as Amber, but they didn't do anything, and that was disappointing to me. Like, they could have her be Neo if they ever wanted a voice. That would be a good voice in my opinion. Um, and then what is it? You could have I don't know, Vic Mignogna play as Crow. I think he would be the perfect Crow, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. But those are just like a few voices I can think of, like that could be changed for the better. Silhouette of a Kid asks, what would you have done different with Yang to make her more interesting? Well, I would have had her actually go through her PTSD more. Like, with Adam, for example, like, I would have definitely had her have, like, an emotional breakdown. Because, like, PTSD, when you have that, like, there will be certain things that'll trigger it, and it doesn't just go away because you get a mechanical arm. I mean, seriously, like, PTSD is something that can last throughout someone's entire life. And, it could have also hindered her when she fought during, the time she went to the bandit camp, like whenever she was fighting those bandits. They could have actually had her maybe lose, get captured by Raven. The Raven let her go because, that was her mother. But, like, man, there are so many things I would have done differently. Like, I definitely wouldn't have had Yang be the smart aleck that she is. Like, have her still kind of be fun and interesting, but maybe be a little more afraid of things. Maybe be more cautious instead of, jumping the gun to things. But, that's just me. That's just, like, one thing I can tell you right now. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, binging with Babish or Joshua Wiseman? Binging with Babish, 100%. Way more entertaining, in my opinion. Thoughts on reverse traps? I mean, I love a series called Maria Holic, and Maria Holic, they have a character that actually is a reverse trap in it, and whenever, she's there, she's pretty awesome. So, reverse traps, they're fine. They work, I guess. So Wu asks, are you the Keymaster? Oh, this reminds me. Is this a Ghostbusters joke? I think it reminds me of that. Mr. Lonely Soul asks, and speaking of Justice League, what lantern ring would you have if you could get your choice? Will, fear, rage, greed, hope, love, compassion, life, or death? I would probably want to have a lantern ring of death, or the red lantern core, because the blood that they have can actually burst through, like it can pierce through barriers because it becomes fire, and it can even burn in space. I mean, it's amazing, like, crazy. Good question. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, would you say the Ruby fan art is what keeps Ruby going? Uh, I'm seeing less and less of it, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think that if anything, it brings awareness, but that's about it. I mean, I think people still draw Ruby characters, but I just think that it's more so that they liked those characters, and that's about it, really. I don't really even think it really helps it stay alive anymore since it's losing popularity and not gaining it. Mr. DJ Fly asks, if Rooster Teeth goes under, who will take hold of the Ruby IP? Will it be RT or Monty's wife? Well, if RT goes under, RT wouldn't hold it. In fact, it would go to, AT&T and Warner Media because, they own them. So that's actually the direction where it would go because they're the company that owns Rooster Teeth. So it's, their property really. So they would have the IP. Awu then asks, if you were a Pokemon trainer, what Pokemon would you have and why? Okay, now this would be upon a competitive build I made. So if I was a Pokemon trainer, I would first off have a Tyranitar because that thing is bulky. You want to talk about a tanky pseudo-legendary, this is one of them. Not only that, but it's a good rock setter. So if you need stealth rocks, this thing is going to set that up. It's going to take some hits unless it's a fighting type. Fighting types are going to destroy this thing. Rock Dark has a lot of weaknesses, which is the problem, but it's still a good bulky Pokemon. So Tyranitar would be one of them because it's a good rock setter and it hits very hard. Crobat, because here's why I would use a Crobat. I would not use a Crobat in the offensive sense. I'd use it more in the defensive sense. Because Crobat is a Pokemon that I've used Roost, Brave Bird, U-Turn, and Defog for. So if my opponent has rocks or any other entry hazard, basically I'll just throw out Crobat, Defog, and then use U-Turn to escape. And then if I need to Roost, I'll heal. Because, Crobat's amazing. They're great, and they have one of the higher speed tiers, so they're amazing. Another one I would have would be Scizor, because I have actually swept an entire team with a Scizor. That thing is ridiculous. You get a Swords Dance off a Technician, you can get priority stab damage, Bullet Punch, as well as Bug Bite, and then Pursuit. I mean, Pursuit would be able to take care of your opponent's Pokemon if they try to, escape from a Scizor. I actually beat a Latios with a Scizor one time because my opponent thought they could switch out, and I used Pursuit. It was pretty hilarious. Greninja, because Greninja is insane. Protein Greninja is nuts. This thing is extremely fast as a Pokemon, and, it's a glass cannon. I mean, yeah, Greninja gets smacked, it's going to go down, but Greninja has a good amount of physical and special attack power as well as speed to be able to make use of the Life Orb damage, because Life Orb increases your damage, and it also depletes a little bit of HP per turn, but still, worth it. Garchomp. I absolutely love this Pokemon. This is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon as well, because Garchomp, this thing is a complete beast. You want to talk about rampaging through teams, use Garchomp. This land shark is not afraid to fly over and just smack something and take it out in about a hit or two. I mean, this thing's terrifying. It's also owned by the great champion Cynthia, who is the best girl. And, Cynthia, she is a beast. I mean, she is known as the best champion for a good, solid reason, because her team is amazing. But, her best Pokemon being Garchomp. Garchomp is, like I said, it is the destroyer of worlds. The only bad news about a Garchomp is if you can use it, your opponent can too. That's about the worst thing that could really happen. But yeah, I'd also main a Charizard. My reason for maining a Charizard is Charizard is not a bad Pokemon. Realistically, though, if I were to use Charizard, because, you could use the Dynamax version, you could use, Z-Move Charizard with Sunny Day, but I'm kind of more of the guy to use Charizard with Mega Evolution, because Charizard with Charizard Y, because like Charizard X and Charizard Y both are good, but I main Charizard Y. That thing had tore through teams. I mean, when you have a special attack power higher than that of a Mewtwo, a base Mewtwo, okay, yeah, that's scary. I mean, that's terrifying. Charizard is a dangerous threat. It is a very good Pokemon. Mega Charizard Y is always the way to go, in my opinion. Wu asks, if you had to worship a Daedric prince, who would it be? I would have to say I would probably worship Shiogarath, the infamous Prince of Madness, whose motives are unknowable. Because, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to suspect. So, that would be pretty good in my opinion. But, that's just me. Then Owu goes on to ask, apple juice or apple cider? I would have to go with apple juice. But that's just me. Then again, when it comes down to it, I do like apple juice a pretty decent amount. I've also had apple cider, but I don't know, I'm more into apple juice personally. But, that's just me. But anyways, good question. Next question to go on to is Blue Eye Spaniard asks, what do you think of this beauty? I'm not exactly sure what that is, other than it looks like a ball. I'm trying to understand what this is exactly. I mean, it looks like a ball to me. I mean, it could be something else. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not getting it. I asked this in a previous Q&A, and you said you hadn't. Have you seen Mystery Skulls now? I do know of the animated, music video. Like, if that's what you mean, like that. But if it comes to a show, I haven't seen a show. Maybe I'm just not looking at the right places. Maybe you can tell me where to look, and I can see it, and then I can let you know what I think. The entire series up to this point is less than 20 minutes long, and there's a new episode coming this year. I'm hyped. Oh, that's awesome, man. How many subs do we need to get before you do a reading of the HP fanfic My Immortals? I don't know. Maybe maybe 2,000. How about that? Maybe that could be the stretch goal. 2,000 subs, and I'll read that. How's that sound? I mean, I think that sounds pretty reasonable. How many for a face reveal? I don't know on that one. Maybe a much higher number for that one. That would probably be a while. I don't know. I'd have to think of a number on that one. I don't know. You told us what Grim you would add if you had the chance. Not gonna lie, T-Rex Grim sounds pretty cool, but let's think differently. What Huntsman would you add? By this I mean name, age, weapon, semblance, which fairy tale character or historical figure, if any, they are based off of, and personality. I'm not as interested in actual character design, but you can drop that in as well if you want. Ooh, that's a good question. Um, if Ruby was actually not falling apart, I would recommend Alice from Alice in Wonderland. Like, make a character based off of Alice. Um, and because I love Alice in Wonderland, but I don't want to see her get destroyed. But I guess name her Alicia. To kind of change up the name a little bit. Her age could be like 19 to 20, maybe 22 at the highest. And then what her weapon could be, she could actually have a longsword, and the longsword could actually shift into different shields. And what could be cool is that these shields could be like in the crest form of what you would see like on cards, like clubs or spades or hearts, things of that sort. Like that would be kind of a cool shield. And what it could do is the shield itself could actually repel attacks. So if the shield gets hit by an attack, it sends it back with whatever dust is being used inside of it at double the force. I think that would be kind of a cool shield that she could use. And so that could also be kind of like a projectile at the same time, considering that the dust could be sending the attack back, which I think would be kind of awesome. Her semblance, I think, could work in a very weird way. One that also is a high risk, high reward. So what I mean by this is she could channel her aura into some kind of an attack, right? Like, for example, like she could put it in her blade or she could put it in her fist. If she makes direct contact with the actual body of the opponent, what this could do is it'll slowly start to shrink the opponent. But if the attack fails when she tries to put this into hitting the opponent and instead doesn't hit them, like say if she misses, for example, this will take a fraction of her aura. So it'll actually kind of damage her a bit. It'll be like a cost if she can't directly hit the body. Something to balance that out a little bit, because that would be pretty strong for a ability. But it also wouldn't be enough of one to sap her, aura entirely. But so she would be able to use it a couple of times at least, like maybe a few times before, it finally, broke. So that would be something that would be kind of interesting, at least some sort of a balance, so that even though she would lose aura, she'd still have the chance to, have her aura's protection in combat. In terms of personality, I think that she could have kind of more of a stoic kind of, act kind of more like calm, I guess you could say. And then, she could be stubborn though. So if there are people that conflict with her, she's stubborn and she stands her ground with what she believes. And I think it would be kind of interesting to see her with a mischievous side, kind of playing pranks on people that are close to her every once in a while. I think that would be kind of cool. But, she'd be someone that would definitely be kind of more reserved, I guess, from time to time. But she would be one for combat whenever somebody's willing to fight her. Like, she would be interested in actually fighting others to test her own abilities. I think that'd be kind of cool. But, that's just some things just like off the top of my head right there, at least. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of a cool idea. What is your favorite mythological monster that isn't a dragon? I actually like the Wendigo. I think it's actually a very different, but yet interesting mythical creature. I don't know. I've always liked Wendigos. Shout Tucker Stan asks, favorite Power Ranger season? I'm a big fan of Mighty Morphin. I don't know. I like the original. I remember the original. I've always liked the original the most personally. So yeah, I would have to probably go with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think it was probably the best storyline. But that's just me. Jenny is a robot built by an old scientist to look like a teenager to fight crime and monsters with lasers, plus she's the scientist's daughter. Penny is a robot built by an old scientist to look like a teenager to fight crime and monsters with lasers, plus she's a scientist's daughter. Coincidence? I think not. What do you think? Oh, you're saying that it's possible that they may have taken Penny from Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot. Huh. You know, that I never thought of that. Wow. I never. Oh, that's wow. That's something. Okay, that's something. That's what you know. What you might be onto something. You might be onto something. That's interesting. Mr. DJ Fly asks, "What do you think of this image?" God, Jar Jar Binks. What? Oh, that art challenge. That one was actually that was a funny art challenge. People did like hilarious things. Coop, here you go, buddy. You'll like this one. And the God Emperor's name, I take you with me. Oh, that's good. Oh man, that's awesome actually. Oh man, people had so much fun with this challenge. That was really cool. Blue Eye Spaniard asks, "What are your thoughts on this picture? Neapolitan servers." I think people have too much time on their hands. Oh, that's what I think. I think people have too much time on their hands. Oh, but it's not bad. It's kind of it's interesting to say the least. It's amusing. It's definitely amusing. So going on to the next question, Assault Shaker asks, if you can kill off one character you despise the most, who would it be? You know, honestly, if it's from any genre, you know, like looking at it, I would probably kill Jean and Ruby. I don't like him. Either him, Yang, or Blake. Be one of those three. Number two, if you could listen to only one metal subgenre for the rest of your life, what would it be? Mine would be progressive metal because you have all the creativity put into one song. If it were me, I would probably say gothic metal. I don't know. I've always loved that genre, so I'd probably have to go gothic. Which band would you prefer? Primus, Roland's Band, Helmet, Faith No More, Danzig, or Melvins? If so, why? You can only pick one band though. I would probably say Helmet. I think that Helmet has a good alternative metal, but also, you know, Helmet's been known for a very long time. And back in 1995, the band did appear in the Jerky Boys, the movie. And they actually did cover Black Sabbath's Symptom of the Universe, which was pretty good. And their manager in that movie, which I'll never forget this, was Ozzy Osbourne. I thought it was really cool. But yeah, I really like them. I've liked them for a long time. I know this sounds super weird, but if you could be a dummy thick girl, which means huge hips, thighs, and a big butt, for one day, how'd you react and how'd you feel? I would think it'd be weird, and I would wait for the day to end. that's basically how I'd feel. If you lose interest into making Ruby content, would you do reviews of webcomics, obscure anime, manga, comics, animated series, music, games, etc.? And what would be your first comic, animated series, game, music, or anime be? Well, I have thought about reviewing Revolutionary Girl Utena. You know, get the time to rewatch it again a few more times and then review because I do like that series. Either that or Maria Holic. That'd be another fun one. But that's just me. What is your favorite emo band and why do you like the emo bands? You answer. My favorite would probably be Panic at the Disco. You know, they were originally a pop rock band, and then they really changed it over to kind of like emo, which I started really liking. And I think they've done good music personally, but that's just me, and I love listening to them. Shout Tucker Stan asks, who would you kiss, marry, and kill between Robin, May, and Joanna? Oh, and I hate all three of them. Oh, you know what? I know how to answer this. As much as I hate it, I know how to answer this. I would kiss Joanna, marry May, and kill Robin because Robin Hill is no, that's a no go. She'd have to, yeah, that's how I take care of that. Oh boy. False Baker asks several questions this month for the Q&A. If you were to move outside of the U.S., what 5 countries you'd move to and why? What are your top 10 80s movies? And also, what is your favorite punk, such as cyberpunk, steampunk, diesel punk, space punk, and stuff like that? I would want to move to Japan. That'd be like number 1. Another one, I would probably go to Italy because I do like Italy. Also, France would be another option. Another one, I would say Germany because I've always enjoyed Germany, and Australia. Those would be like the places I would move to if it were me. Top 10 80s. Now this is a good question because there were tons of good movies back in the 80s. All right, The Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, um, what was it? Terminator. What was it? I mean, I can't leave this one out. Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. I mean, you know, Beverly Hills Cop. That was another great one. We also had Scarface, RoboCop, um, Rambo First Blood, Ferris Bueller. you know, I'd have to say those are like movies I loved. Like, oh man, the '80s had such great movies, like back to back. That's insane to think about. Like, oh man, there's so many other movies I could name off, but those are like my favorites of that time. 100% my favorites of that time. Also, what is your favorite punk, such as cyberpunk, steampunk, diesel punk, space punk, and stuff like that? Gotta go with cyberpunk, although I really like steampunk as well. Those are my two favorites. But yeah, those are definitely my two favorites. But anyway, so that is it for the Q&A, the longest one to date, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is the longest one. I'm glad I could have all these questions from all of you. I mean, it's fantastic. It's amazing. I love answering these questions, and I hope you enjoyed this stuff too. It's always fun. But anyways, expect more content later today. And also, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.